you can always work. Like, that's like my attitude. It's like, if I want to go do something or like have lunch with a friend or, you know, go shopping, it's like, well, I can work later. Like, that's the nice thing about being self-employed. Like, as long as you know you can get it done, you can be selfish.
Yeah.
So,
welcome to the Work Undone podcast, a show where I sit down with maker entrepreneurs to find out what it really takes to start a business focused on physical product from the folks who are actually in the thick of it. I'm your host, Justin Hawkins, a designer, artist, entrepreneur living in lovely Portland, Oregon. Welcome to episode 2. Before we get started here, I just want to let everybody know there's going to be a bit of background noise. I'm recording in my work studio space, and there's a train that goes by, likes to make itself known, and I've got some neighbors who are makers, and they'll be banging around a little bit. On this episode, Lizzie Falkenstein of Primecut, a line of women's handbags made by hand using hide-on hair leather. So, I guess I just would like to usually start with asking kind of some background in history, both creatively and entrepreneurially. Did you grow up with examples in your youth?
Well, I grew up selling lemonade and pet rocks to my neighbors.
That's awesome.
It was like the top magazine seller in elementary school and high school and middle school, like all those
the drives.
School sales and drives, yeah. So definitely grew up like as an entrepreneur, but I'd say it mostly came to me after college and during college.
What did you do in college as far as selling stuff and entrepreneurial?
Well, I had a handbag business before Primecut called Lizzie bags, and they were like cutesy makeup bags, and that was kind of my introduction into sewing and mass production and running a business. So it was a good like first step to creating Primecut.
Right, and you started that in college?
Yes.
Okay, and how many years did you run that?
Probably about 3 years, kind of on and off, and it wasn't like a full-time business or anything, but it was a good summer job. So. And
then, excuse me. There's water there for you too if you want
Thanks.
it. So, what did you go to school for?
I went to school for architecture, so that's where I learned my design process. And it's one of those things that once you have established your aesthetic and how you approach design, it kind of applies to all scales of work. So, I mean, I still do architecture, but I use the same principles in my bag designs. So.
Oh, nice. Interesting. And then, so we met at Cinco. We worked there together for, I don't know, how long were you there?
A year.
Total. Yeah. I was only there for probably like 3 to 4 months, maybe.
Didn't you work there before, though, too?
Oh, yeah, I guess I was there before you showed up, right? Before you got hired?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. And that's when, if I remember correctly, you started the bag company when we were working there together, right?
Yeah, I started Primecut while I was working at Cinco, and it probably took me like 6 months to a year to get it off the ground and running, and then I was able to quit my job probably, about 6 to 9 months after I started it.
Wow.
So.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, that's really fast. I imagine most listeners out there are probably like, whoa, that's unbelievable. But do you equate that to having your previous company and like your experience there?
I'm not sure how it happened so quickly. I thought it took a long time. Like, I was ready to quit the day I started Primecut, but financially that didn't make sense. So
right.
When I did quit, it was a little scary. It was kind of like one of those things where I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make money? Like, I'm making this much money, but it's not like a reliable income. I mean, being your own boss, like your salary fluctuates from month to month. So
yeah,
I kind of just made it work. And as soon as you I feel like everyone has those freakouts in their careers and lives. And as soon as you overcompensate for it, everything pours in and you get completely slammed. So it wasn't a problem. That's
great. That's amazing. So explain your business to us. I guess we haven't gone over that.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you make?
I design and create handbags and leather goods, mostly hair on hide or cowhide or calf hair. There's a lot of names for it. It's just cowhide that has the hair on it still. My bag designs are super minimal and simple because the material itself is very complex and naturally beautiful, so you don't have to do a lot to it.
Yeah. That's great. And were most of them clutches, like simple?
Simple clutches. Yeah. I just introduced like a backpack style and a new tote design. So there are ones with like purse or with straps on them and what you'd call a purse. But the clutches are definitely the most popular.
Yeah, and that's where it was pretty much just clutches for the first.
Yes, I started out with like three sizes of clutches.
2 pieces of leather, a zipper on it, and
a lined interior, and that's it.
Yeah, nice. And if I remember correctly, when we met up the other day, you were saying you're expanding the line elsewhere to home goods?
Yes, I just introduced some pillows, and then I'm sourcing cow hides that I find aesthetically pleasing and selling those to my loyal customers. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure.
As rugs?
Yeah.
As rugs. Okay.
Yeah, because that's what they're initially, that's what most people buy them for. Okay. People do use them for handbags, but a lot of cow hides are sold as rugs and interior decorating items.
Yeah. So. Do you want to give us drop a little knowledge on cow hides and like, are they cattle? Are they dairy? Are they everything in between? Like, are you sourcing specific cows with specific patterns? Are there unique ones you're having a hard time to find?
Yes to all of those questions.
Okay.
So most of the cow hides I get come from Brazil, and they're secondary products of the agriculture industry. So the cow is raised for its meat or as a dairy cow until it is done with its life. Mm-hmm. And then they process the cow and they take the skin off the cow just like they would leather.
Sure.
Instead of taking the hair off, they leave the hair on. So that's why it's called hair on hide. But it's the exact same thing as leather. It's actually just less processed.
Okay.
So they're all raised for meat, and the cow's not raised just for its skin.
Sure,
so
yeah.
It's a little more ethical that way.
Right.
But yeah, they come from Brazil. Brazilian hides, I find, are the softest and the best quality. Huh. They also have the most interesting coloring. I get a lot of like speckled hides, like black and white speckles and tan and white speckles. They don't look like your typical cow.
Yeah, that's I was going to ask, because the bags I've seen are very unique. The one you even have here, it almost looks like a kind of a brindle sort of dog's hair.
Yeah, they don't look like cows. It's like some kind of exotic animal.
Yeah,
but
totally.
They're cow.
Yeah. Brazilian, those exotic Brazilian cows. Did you have a hard time finding sourcing on that?
It kind of evolved organically. I started getting my hides from Oregon Leather here in town. They have big scrap bins in the back, and that was pretty awesome. I started making a bag for myself. I didn't even know what the material was when I bought it. And then with further investigation, and realizing that I couldn't just make bags out of scraps, I needed to expand and actually find the material source. So just through the internet and doing some research, I started working with wholesalers that import into the U.S. from Brazil. So
okay,
yeah,
cool. And how much are you buying at a time? Are you buying like 3 hides, or is it like 23 hides?
It depends. Normally they don't have enough stock for me to buy 23 hides. I'm in the process of trying to have more inventory and keep more consistent coloring. It's hard because each hide is so different from the other hides. So I kind of have to, if I have more inventory, I can sort the hides and figure out what I can sell as one coloring pattern. So I'm trying to buy in larger quantities. I buy hides 1 at a time sometimes, and I buy hides 20 at a time. It just depends.
Yeah.
So.
And so you say you're buying it from somebody in Brazil, they're shipping it to you, or are you going through somebody here in Portland or in the States, and Brazil ships it to that person, and then
it's someone in the States. So it's a company out of Florida. They ship it in directly from Brazil, and then I buy it from them. I'm not sure how the importing rules work as far as animal products. I don't even want to go there.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, it's nice you can hire somebody else to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. That's great. And so who doesn't have enough supply? The
wholesaler.
Okay.
Well, they're working with the cows in Brazil, so
okay.
I guess there's just not enough cows out there for me.
Okay. Got it.
That's probably not true at all.
Probably not true at all. Yeah. Wow. That's super interesting. Let's see what else we got here. We touched on a lot of the questions already, and so now I'm just trying to go through my list here. And so it doesn't sound like you had any money saved when you started this thing?
Not
It was
really,
just kind of
no.
like, you started with scraps? And
Yeah, I mean,
build it?
I bought a really good machine for my last company that I had. So I had a heavy duty industrial sewing machine. But it kind of allowed me, like, I had the tools to do what I wanted to do, or like to experiment. And so I was able to come up with what I actually wanted to do by having the tools. So I kind of did it backwards. Like, I just got lucky, I think, on what I was working on, and it all worked out. But I pretty much started out with no money. Probably put like $100 into materials and sold those bags, and just kept expanding. And kind of fudged it. Like, I had my fingers crossed that I could like find the material that I was offering, and would even just like buy it after I got an order. So that was very stressful at the beginning, but probably not the proper way to do business. But it really kept me honest, and like I wasn't spending money on things I didn't need. So it was a good way to start.
Yeah, so you just slow built it, and all your profit went back into the business to buy materials for the next order that you had or whatever, and you're making everything to order. Yeah,
and now I'm starting to expand where I'm keeping inventory of what I know sells well. At first, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't investing a ton of time and money into products that were going to sit on the shelf and not sell.
Yeah, so, totally.
Yeah, now that I have some kind of, it's been 2 years, and I have a little bit of sales patterns and insight to look at, that I can control my inventory better and stock up for the holidays. And
well, speaking of, what's your breakdown on that? Like, I'm always curious, like, percentage of income via wholesale, via direct to customer, or and kind of overall, what's it during the holidays? How much of your yearly income? Usually it's about 40%.
That's the hard part. I would say it's more than 40%.
Really?
I'd say I do like 60 to 70% of my business between September and December.
Wow.
And then I'd say out of the entire year, 60 to 70% of my business is wholesale, and then the rest is split between retail and trade shows or retail shows. Mm-hmm. So anytime the customer is paying full price, and or direct to customer,
right? Yeah,
or consumer. So it's a lot of wholesale. I would like to strengthen my online sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm working on right now. I'm learning how to market. It's really scary.
Right.
Really frustrating.
I'm trying to do the same thing for this. It's like, how's anybody going to actually ever hear about a podcast?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's one thing to see a bag out in the wild and be like, oh my gosh, what's that? Where'd you get it?
You can visually.
Yeah. So walking down the street, I was working on Sunday, and sure enough, a woman comes in, sits down next to me at the bar, and she's got one of your bags.
Really?
Like, yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Did you tell her that you knew me?
No, I didn't. But I almost took a photograph and sent it to you, but then I was like, she probably gets that all the time.
No, I don't.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I would love to get more photos.
Yeah.
I get a lot of, I saw your bag, but I never get the photos.
Yeah. Okay, well, listeners out there, send Lizzie the In the Wild bags.
I should start a hashtag. That's a good marketing promotion.
Actually, it is.
Nice work.
That would be good.
Just did my brainstorming for the day.
Done and done. Now implementing it. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Tell us about your studio.
My studio is in my basement.
Should we use air quotes on that?
Yeah, studio. Well, I work from home. I have an 800 square foot basement that is primarily my studio space. It does have a laundry machine in it, but that's about it, other than my studio. So it's a pretty good size. It's hard to like move on from that because it's free rent. I get to write it off on my taxes. I get to work in my pajamas. I don't have to drive anywhere. My dog hangs out with me all day. So it's a pretty good setup. It's a little dark and cold, but other than that, I love it. So.
And we were just talking about, I think before I hit record here, sounds like you're remodeling it a little bit, so it's a little bit of an upgrade. Yeah,
it's going to be nice. It's going to be bigger and maybe photo worthy after it's done. It's pretty ugly down there right now. It's a bummer because it's hard to like take those in studio shots or process shots when you're like just jam packed with stuff and darkness. And
speaking of, where do you take your product photos?
Most of the ones I take in my backyard on a piece of foam core, like on an overcast day.
Right.
And then I've worked with, as you know, Pavlina Summers from Cinco. I've worked with her, and I've worked with a few other Portland photographers for lookbook stuff. a lot of people are willing to do trades, which is awesome when you're first starting out. Just collaborating and handing out bags and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you got a really great product for the trade thing. You're
it works well.
There. Yeah, for sure. So I like to ask the question, like, as a maker entrepreneur, you're starting something. A lot of people make sacrifices or there's trade-offs in your life. Do you feel like you have any of those, or have you had them in the past?
I think it's hard being self-employed because you don't have the same like creative collaboration and community around you all the time. Like when you work for someone else and you work in a place with multiple employees, it's kind of nice to bounce ideas off of people and just the lifestyle and the socializing that comes with that. So it's hard. You have to definitely like make more time out of your day to do that kind of stuff. There's days where I don't talk to anyone like all day long other than my dog. So I think that's the biggest trade-off. Like I don't miss working for someone else, but I definitely miss like the people I've met doing those other jobs. So
Right. So are you in a place where you're going to hire employees so you can have that collaborative thing? Are you planning on bringing people on?
I don't know. I think managing someone sounds totally different than collaborating. I would love to find like a partner to like take on the business with me, but I'm not ready to hire employees. I'm just going to contract stuff out as long as I can.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The idea of like maybe an intern someday, but I just don't like being bossed around, and I would hate to boss other people around. So maybe I'm not a great entrepreneur.
Wow, you're really seeing the boss thing as being bossy.
Yeah. Well, no, but I don't know. I'm sure I could do it. It's just a little daunting, and I don't want to deal with it right now. So.
Sure. And because you're getting along, it sounds like you're getting along fine on your own.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, there's like definitely stuff as I like have more money to invest in the company. There's definitely more stuff I'd want to do. Like I would love to maybe contract out like some marketing work, you know, that kind of stuff, like social media work, things that I don't want to do and don't have the time that are easy to like not hire someone full time to do, but
sure,
you know, someone to manage that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, then along those lines, what do you think your company looks like in 5 years, 10 years?
Maybe like 1 or 2 employees, and then or like working with a fabrication company or sewing company that does all of our fabrication. But it could also be like a shop with a studio in the back. I don't know. I'm totally open. It's definitely going to grow for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Kind of just letting it do its thing, and as long as I'm making money and you know happy with what I'm doing, I'm kind of just open to wherever it leads me. Who knows? Maybe I'll start a different company.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You do tend to do that.
Yeah, maybe some like famous designer will buy me out, and I can just use that money to like come up with a new idea.
The next thing.
Yeah, who knows?
Right on. Well, it sounds like you're open to whatever happens.
Yes.
It sounds like from what we talked about the other day, you know, you're doing well. If I can say so, you told me you were making more money now.
Yeah.
Than you were at your job.
You're gonna jinx me. I'm not gonna make any money anymore.
Bullshit. But what's the trade-off for that?
I don't know. You're just like fully responsible. I mean, if you take a break, your income takes a break. So,
touche.
Like with remodeling my house, it's like I'm probably not gonna have an income for the next month or so, or I mean, a much smaller income. So,
right.
I don't know. It's just you definitely have to stay self-motivated and critical of yourself, but that can be a downside. Like that can definitely destroy you too. Like it's a fine balance between being productive and like also having your own free time still, because I think owning your own business, running your own business kind of like consumes your entire life. Like even when you're not working from 8 to 5, you're still working in your head or on your computer. So
right,
it's a hard balance.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like sometimes you work super late. Sometimes you're sewing all of these bags by hand yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
You said you got them down to what, 15?
Well, it depends on the bag.
Yeah.
Like the pouches, like 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
From start to finish. But I'm also like mass producing, or not mass producing, but producing like 50 at a time.
Right.
You know, so.
And tell us about you kind of one of the things you're doing to scale or save time. You're working with Matt. Well, he's letting me use his equipment. Right.
So just investing time and money into equipment that makes the like process of creating bags more efficient. So I don't know. I've been using his like die cutting machine or die press to cut out like the patterns of my bags, which is really helpful and much more accurate. Also like invested in some new machinery, so
Yeah.
that's helping. Definitely helping.
Move things faster.
Yeah, and then just like getting into like creating the time, or like have it once I start to have inventory, it gives me more time to make more bags at once, because I'm not like scrambling to make each individual order. I can do like, you know, like 50 backpacks in like 1 week, and then like 50 clutches the next week. So it's much more efficient that way than making like one backpack and then one clutch and then one tote. So
Right. That makes sense. So overall, I think I know the answer to this question. Has it been worth it?
Yes. Totally.
That's great. Love to hear it.
It would be really interesting to go back to like working for someone else. I don't want to do it, but I wonder like what it would be like sometimes.
It's hard.
Yeah, I bet.
It's really hard.
But yeah, definitely don't miss it.
Yeah, there's an element of just giving a shit that you just don't have.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I making money for you?
Yeah.
I'm so confused right now. What's going on?
I
Like,
know. Even when I do like contract gigs with like with designers or other companies, I'm like, holy crap, like this is not fun. Like I don't like working for, like I like having customers because they're buying a product that you already have out there. Like when you like have to like read someone's mind and design something out of like thin air, it's like, I don't know, like it's just so hard to read people and know what everyone wants that's involved.
Yeah.
I don't know how people
And
do
once
it.
you get it out there, your customer knows what they want, and they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And then you can give them that to them,
Yeah.
or not.
Or I can say no, and then it works out.
Right.
Either way. It's
Exactly.
like, if I don't want your money, I just say no.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the thing, I guess you kind of touched on this a little bit maybe, but what's the next thing you're learning or you're wanting to learn more about?
That's a good question. I didn't think about that.
Was it the marketing thing, or is it
Well, I definitely need to learn more about that. I
but
just
want to? It's not,
I don't-
not the word you use.
I would want to if I like had some idea of what that entailed, but like it's just so daunting.
Yeah.
But I should, yeah. I guess I do want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to learn more about marketing and like search engine optimization and all that stuff. That's just stressful. So
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of
definitely
great
working on that.
resources out there.
Yes, I need to do some more reading, and I'd love to figure out how Etsy works, because I've been on Etsy for 2 years and I still don't understand how my bags, like, I mean, I have my own website too, so most of my sales come from there, but like for some reason, like I cannot gain any momentum on Etsy, and it drives me crazy. And I've done every single thing in every one of their like little lists, and my bags are by far the nicest cowhide bags on Etsy.
Sure.
And they're still like, it's a strange site. So that's another thing. But
Well, I think Etsy too, it's crafty.
yes, it is
And
a little
you're
crafty.
not, your brand and your product isn't crafty.
No, it's not.
And I think if somebody sees a list of 5, different bags, they're going to buy the cheapest one.
That's true. That's
So,
very true.
Maybe Etsy's just not even your, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're getting sales on there, like, and it's worth staying on there, but
Yeah,
as far
it's
as,
worth staying on it, but I shouldn't invest time in it then.
yeah, maybe that's, you focus your time somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have to be thinking about that one.
I know. It's a strange site. I'm focused more on Pinterest now, and
Oh, yeah.
trying a little Facebook advertising. We'll see. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Totally.
don't know how any of it works and if it's even worth it. Like,
Well, yeah, it's just testing. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's just like, try something,
see if it
get
works.
as much data as you can.
Yeah, totally.
How's it feel in your gut?
Yeah.
Try the next thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, yeah, it really kind of just works like that. I think from what I hear. I mean, so much of it is like, okay, this is fairly effective, but it feels right. It feels
Yeah.
right for my brand. It feels right for me.
Yeah,
that sort
totally.
of a thing. So, yeah, well, that's good. I look forward to seeing where that goes.
Me too.
But definitely that hashtag. Have to make that happen in the wild.
Yeah, that's great.
So, you touched on this a little bit too, but tell us about your holiday schedule and how cray it can be.
It's so crazy. I told myself this year I would like start working on holidays in June. So we'll see how that goes. But literally,
wow.
like all of my wholesalers order in like September, late August to like September, and even into October. They order all of their holiday and like winter stuff, and my bags are very popular in the winter because they're like hair on hide bags, so they're just more of a like cold winter month item. I mean, I use mine all year round, but
Sure.
a lot of people like them in the winter.
Makes sense.
So I get like the majority of my wholesale orders come from like August to October, and it's just like crazy, and then I have to get ready for all the holiday sales, like the trade shows and retail sales, and that's like November through December and all the online orders. So it's just like 80-hour weeks from September to December. And then January happens, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to hire anyone because it's January.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Right, it's too late now. Yeah.
So definitely need to do some more planning.
Right. Well, so then do you think you're going to hire somebody to help you part-time this year?
Maybe, if the right person comes along.
Yeah. Okay.
If they like just like end up knocking on my door and are like, hey, I want to help with Primecut. No.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll definitely like probably look for someone.
Yeah. At least put it out into the universe.
Yeah, we'll see.
See what the universe
I guess
says.
I can always fire them if it doesn't work out, right?
Yeah, just do a temporary trial thing. Like, okay, so we're just going to try this for a week, see how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
They can leave, and you know.
Yeah, maybe they will want to leave.
Exactly. It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a nutty schedule.
Yeah, it's just like it all comes at once. It's nuts. But it's getting better. Like every year is better. Like I don't know why, but I always want to build a new trade show booth design for every year. Like or every show I'm like, ooh, this would look great. And then I end up spending like weeks making this like trade show booth. And it's just silly. So now I'm at a point where I have a nice design that I can reuse this year, so that'll save me a lot of time too.
Nice.
And planning. Now knowing, like, it takes a few years, I think, to know exactly what's going to happen month to month. So it's a lot easier to, like, predict what will happen this year than it was last year and the year before. So.
Yeah, predicting and planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think's been the hardest part of this whole thing, of starting this whole thing?
I guess just not taking everything personally. Like when you're selling a product and someone's like, they get it and they're like, I hate this, or you know, like it smells funny, or it's shedding, or you know, it's just like it's not what I wanted. It's, you know, it's some like it just feels insulting sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that they don't connect you with the product, even though you're connected to the product. So it's like taking a step back and realizing it's just a business and it's just an item, like it's an object. It's not a reflection of me. So,
yeah.
And every person has their own opinion.
So true.
I don't get a lot of returns or those kind of emails, but when I do, it's really upsetting to me. I have to get over that.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's how, I feel like entrepreneurship, it's kind of takes a certain type of person or a person who's in a certain place in their life to step out and do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's super challenging, both on all levels, interpersonally, spiritually, whatever we want to call it. Do you feel like you've grown from and learned from that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still growing. I don't know. It's definitely still in progress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've learned a lot. I've become a lot more confident. I think another big thing is just like not comparing yourself to other similar brands or people that you like, comparing yourself to like a giant handbag company as well. Like you kind of just have to like kind of like reflect inward and move on. And not focus too much on what everyone else is doing. I think if you've got a creative eye and are innovative and like have your own interests and perspective, I think that will lead the way instead of, you know, I think often these days, like people like instead of like thinking up an idea, they just go straight to Pinterest or something like that and look for other people's ideas. And so I think if you are able to stay away from that, like I think it's good to definitely have an idea of what's going on out there, but like not to over focus and fixate on that really helps too.
Yeah.
And it avoids a lot of stress by not doing that.
Yeah, I bet.
So
that makes sense. That's kind of all the questions I've got here. Do you should we do those kind of rapid fire, little short answer questions?
Oh
here?
crap! I already forgot what that. So I'm sorry. They might not be that short, but I'll try.
They should be pretty basic. Just keep it simple. What's your biggest time saver that you found throughout the process?
Oh, short answer.
Or long, whatever.
Biggest time saver, probably my label printer for when I ship and using like a shipping program instead of like hand typing each address.
That is so funny because that's
So
exactly what Agnieszka from
Really?
the first episode said. Yeah, she's like, it's so silly. She's like,
yeah.
just a tape gun, a freaking tape gun, or whatever. So.
Yeah. It's those things that you like refuse to admit that you need, and then
Mm-hmm.
you
So
get
you're,
one, and
so
you're
you're
like,
doing
holy
all
crap.
your shipping yourself.
Yeah, I do all my
Yeah.
shipping, but I've got there's a lot of great integrated programs. Like Squarespace has ShipStation integrated, and so I just print my labels directly from that. I don't have to type anything in, so
Nice.
it makes it a lot faster.
Yeah, I bet. Have you looked into fulfillment at all? Having
No,
somebody else
I'm
do
not
it?
big enough for that yet. I
wasn't
mean,
sure.
I probably get I'm probably filling 5 orders a day max, so it's
okay.
not.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you save your ideas? There's a notebook, digitally?
I'm the messiest idea saver, scrap paper, or I'll just make a prototype if I have an idea. So, but they're all scattered. Nothing's organized.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about your studio?
That it's at my house.
That's a good one.
Convenience.
Yeah. We kind of already touched on this, but let's just to review. I guess how long have you been at your current location, your current studio, and how many times have you moved?
I have not moved at all. I've been working there for 2 years since I started the business.
Right.
So.
And remind me how long did you have the other business before that?
Probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
But it was on and off. It wasn't full time or anything. So.
Yeah. And why did you shut that one down? Why didn't you do them both?
It was just not something I wanted to do. I mean, the price point was way too low for what I would how much time I was spending, and they weren't I personally would never use one of the bags. They were way too cutesy for me. So I decided it was time to move on and focus on something that I really enjoy, and then I could kind of design for myself while I'm designing for others. So
yeah, totally. And then free advertising while you're actually using the product.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Testing it and all that stuff. How did you deal with because I know when we first talked about this, you were having a hard time because the cowhides aren't the same, so each bag is unique.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that rather than taking an individual photo of each bag and putting each one of those up on the thing?
Yeah, so that's kind of goes back to buying in high quantities. Mm-hmm. So if I can buy a whole bunch of cowhides at once of one color, I can sort them and figure out what I can sell on my website and clump all those together and make all those bags at one time and sell those, and then when they're sold out, go to the next batch. So just doing things in larger scale. Sometimes that doesn't work though. I have a lot of one-of-a-kind bags, and I sell those in person, or it's consignment places or wholesale. Wholesale, I can be a little more flexible with the coloring and patterning because it's wholesale and no one's actually bought the bag yet. The customer hasn't purchased the bag, so as long as it looks cool, no one seems to have a problem with it.
Yeah,
so.
They're buying what they're seeing rather than seeing a generic photo, air quotes generic photo of the product that they're going to ultimately receive. Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah. So you don't get many complaints on that?
No, I mean, I've had people exchange stuff, but it's never I hate this bag. It's, I wanted more white and then black. And it's well, you should have emailed me and I could have easily done that the first time. But it all works out.
Is that something you're going to add into the...
people just don't read. I have that in
Fair
my,
enough.
I have it in my descriptions, but.
Yeah. So, as a product-based company, how important do you feel it is to build your brand and tell your story?
It's really important. I feel I probably don't even do that great of a job at it. I wish I did a better job. I think I'd be more successful. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think the more you can integrate your story into your personal lifestyle, it gets easier. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm struggling with because I don't think my personal lifestyle is very glamorous. There's always those people that can take photos 3 photos a day and post them, and they're relative to their brand and to their personal life, but I'm not that person. So it's finding a balance between work and glamorous personal life.
I don't know. I've seen your house. It's pretty glamorous.
Maybe after the remodel, I'll be posting a lot more personal photos.
Well, all right. I know you're in the middle of a remodel right now, but even before the remodel, it was pretty. You have great style.
Thanks.
You're in architecture, right? Yeah. Oh, and so to clarify for everybody else out there, So she worked in architecture for a while, and then we worked at Cinco. It was more of a design focus, but you were doing 3D work, and I was doing branding and other design stuff.
Yeah, like retail design.
Yeah, so we're just kind of like graphic design.
Yeah. You should put that at the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah, I might switch around. But it popped into my head, so little note to myself right here in the middle of the conversation. When was the last time you were selfish? Did something for you?
Like every day.
Oh, good. Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can always work. Like,
Awesome.
That's like my attitude. It's like if I want to go do something or like have lunch with a friend or go shopping, it's like, well, I can work later. Like, that's the nice thing about being self-employed. Like, as long as you know you can get it done, you can be selfish.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
I don't know.
That's my new. I'm gonna try to do that hashtag.
Yeah.
Self-ish. We'll see.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Oh yeah. Just a little bit. So, if you knew then what you know now, would you still start this company?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I like part of like the exciting part of it is that like you look back and you're like, how did I start this company? Like, how did I would have never expected that I would have been here in like 5 years ago or 2 years ago. So
right.
I don't know. I'm glad I didn't know, but it's kind of exciting to like be like so off target from where I thought I'd be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way, but just like totally different. So
where did you think you'd be?
like working in an architecture office, like drafting and being an architecture nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting at a desk, staring at a computer screen, still working 80 hours a week, but
Yeah.
just for someone else.
So yeah, why? What changed?
I'm not a person that can sit all day. Like, I have to be doing stuff constantly, and I get distracted. Like, I can work on a computer for about 10 minutes before I lose complete focus. So
10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I have to take a little break, and then I can come back to it. But
All right.
I don't know. It's just I have to be doing something with my hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, lesson learned.
Yeah.
And you achieved that for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
My hands might fall off in like 5 years from all the sewing, but who knows?
Yeah, you might have to address that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. My mom always says that I should get my hands insured.
Ooh. That's probably a good idea.
It's a mom thing to say, but
Yeah. It's one of those mom jokes.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have.
Cool.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
You think we missed anything?
I don't think so.
All
I'm
right.
sure I'll think of something later, but
Sure. Well, you can always come back in and fill in the gaps. Get you out of the house.
Yeah. It's fun.
Give your hands a break. Cool. Well, thanks so much for stopping by and chatting with me for a while.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And there you have it, episode 2. I do love hearing stories about people who quit their job and started a company where they're doing better than they were before. Check out the rest of our episodes on workundone.com, and while you're there, sign up for the mailing list. And if you happen to be checking out Lizzie's amazing bags, be sure to use the coupon code WORKUNDONE, all one word, at checkout for 10% off. And since there's a pretty good chance you're listening to this on iTunes right now, and you like it, and you want to hear more, please click the subscribe button. And if you're a maker yourself, or you want to be sure to go to Facebook and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what kind of business you're working on or thinking about working on. And as always, thanks for listening. I appreciate your support.